Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of TMRO Talks. This morning, I have two guests with me who have been with me from the start of my business. They let me come in and experiment with just video making, with some things that were just for me to practice and test and learn from. And I'm very grateful for the role that they have had in my career. I'll let them introduce themselves for here.
Go ahead.
I'm Melissa Strickland.
And I'm Jesse Strickland. I mean, it's pretty simple.
So what do y'all do?
We have a couple different companies. We own a clothing line, Kings Creek Apparel, and we also own KC Brandwear, which is a corporate apparel company. And we try to be married in the middle of all that. So
Awesome.
Try.
How long have y'all been doing the business portion?
So we started Kings Creek Apparel in 2014. And then he went full-time in 2016, which is the same year we started KC Brandwear. So 10 years for KC Brandwear and then 12 for Kings Creek.
That's awesome.
Just kind of crazy to say that out loud. So
that is awesome.
We were afraid to go with Kings Creek by itself. We had to do something different. We said, this might not work. So,
well, that's not full. I mean, that is true.
That's 100% true on my part. I was scared of that.
But we had a lot of people asking us, in that 2-year period of starting Kings Creek and then doing KC Brandwear, of just asking us, can you make hats for us? Can you do this for our business? And we were like, no. But then we felt like we were kind of missing out on some things. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So what's the focus of, or the difference between your Kings Creek and KC Brandwear?
You want me to answer that? Well, I mean, Kings Creek Apparel is just a full-fledged clothing line. It's our brand that we kind of just pour as much as we can pour into. KC Brandwear, on the flip side, that is a company that, for your business, for anybody from, some of your large companies to small startups, they just don't understand how to get a lot of stuff that they're looking for purchased. And so we decided, hey, let's help them out. And then schools and churches and ball teams, and it just grew from there. And so we're just kind of your one-stop custom shop where we can do just about anything that you need. And fortunately for us, we get to leverage some of the relationships we have made through Kings Creek. And we kind of leverage those relationships to get a little better product to somebody for the same amount of money that they pay for some not as quality product. And then we use the same, we're probably as picky as we can be. I know Melissa is as well. And we just want to make sure it's right and it's when you need it. And it's worked out well.
That's awesome. So what's one thing people don't see in y'all doing that?
I'm not touching this one. I'm not going to touch it.
So I would say people see maybe a more glamorous side of business, and whether it's places that we've gotten to go or people we've gotten to meet or relationships and friendships that we've made, what they don't see is the sleepless nights, wondering, how am I going to logistically make something work? Am I going to meet this deadline? And you're at the mercy of a manufacturer. Wondering if something that you just invested a lot of money in is going to do well as much as you think it's going to. And you don't see, with us working together, living together, being together all the time, just juggling that. I mean, that's hard. That's I say hard. It was really difficult when we first went full-time together, working together from our house, and even moving into our office. We had to work through that. We had to work through, because for most couples, you go to work separate places and you come home and you catch up on your day. How was your day? What did you do? What, that kind of thing. And you want to sit down and eat dinner together. And it's kind of opposite for us, where we have gotten up to, we both try to have our own routine in the morning separate. We go to the office together and we work all day together. And so when we come home, we do eat dinner together every night. But then we kind of do our own thing. We decompress differently. And
we do sleep together.
we are still in the same bed. Yeah. But
I
I mean, those are things that are hard, that people are like, man, y'all do so good together. Y'all work together. Y'all are great. And that is true for the most part. Yeah. But there are really hard times that where you have to work at that. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and I think we're polar opposites, which opposites attract, and so when you're working with your soulmate, your spouse, I don't want her to tell me I'm wrong. I don't mind positionally her telling me, yeah, I don't think that really looks good, but I'm looking at my wife. And so it's like, you never support me. Well, no, I don't support you with these ugly designs, but yes, I support you as a human being. Yeah. And so it's hard. You've got to navigate through that. And guys, I might just be speaking for myself, but guys kind of get a little butthurt. They get mad. And then when we get home and she's got dinner ready, I don't really want to see her. I'm still mad about that meeting at 2:30. I didn't think you had my back or whatever. And it's so that kind of gets a little tough, but it's, the lows I can say are lower and the highs are much higher. Yeah. And that's something that's difficult to operate in those spaces. Mm-hmm. We want as lukewarm, normal of a month as we could ever have. We've never had one. We just want a normal month. That's the goal. The highs are high enough, the lows are plenty low. And so you just kind of have to manage those. Yeah.
So was there like a big break or turning point in the career over the past 10, 12 years?
I think that the way it's interesting to see the way God kind of used our company in several different ways to mold us, I think, more than anything. Here I am. I wanted to make this large impact and have an impact on many different things. But I noticed that I was literally being changed through trying to develop this company. And it went from being that guy with country music people and all of that to concentrating more on the relational side of things with a lot of these people that we've got to do a lot of business with and become friends with. But I think if you look for just a specific turning point, it's a great question. I think that it'd be no secret to say that the combination of Ray Fulcher and Luke Combs probably transformed Kings Creek Apparel. And I will tell both of them to their face, they had nothing to do with how good Melissa runs Casey Brandler. They can't take credit for that. Now, which that has quickly gotten a lot larger than we thought. However, I would have to give credit, one, to God for getting me out of the way, and also to Ray and to Luke for just being old friends and wearing it when they didn't have to. And yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the obvious answer too, for sure, because I remember I tell the story when people ask about him wearing our stuff. Luke, when he was not famous at all, is when we met him through Ray, and I remember him accepting an award on this CMA Awards. It was a Wednesday night. We were at youth because we were serving in youth at Warren, and we were rushing home because we knew the award show were coming on. We knew he was nominated, and we were just excited to see him win an award, if he won. And I just remember him, and I don't think it was intentional on his part, just the timing of everything.
It was God's
time. For us, we weren't mad about it, but he won New Artist of the Year award that night and walked on up on stage with our hat on. And I know that sounds like so silly and so insignificant, but it changed our business. I mean, immediately, because people who knew us, or people who were following him, they were like, that's crazy. How much did you pay him to wear that? We were like, we didn't pay him anything. And so yeah, I think that was huge for us, and we have been super grateful forever, because it was just a very organic thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that we chased after. It wasn't something that we paid for. So yeah, I think that was the turning point for Kings Creek for sure. It kind of gave us a little more credibility outside of our hometown. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and then we were able to piggyback that with Casey Brandware, and we had instant street cred, I guess, because I mean, you guys own Kings Creek, because everybody thinks it's this Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
They don't realize that, we're cleaning toilets and doing all that on our own, but I have to admit, I've never cleaned a toilet, but
I was just about to call him out for that, actually.
somebody does in here. But anyway, so people have an opinion of you that you've got really no control over.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've learned through the years of doing this business for sure.
Yeah. I had a guy a few episodes ago who had a similar moment, but it wasn't like big artist. It was just a guy at a Georgia game on the sidelines wearing one of his hats.
Oh, cool.
And he was like, ba-ding, ba-ding, ba-ding. And
Yeah.
it changed his business.
Yeah.
And then it was really crazy. Last night, my buddy texted me a picture of himself on ESPN wearing my hat.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that was kind of cool.
Tell him to tag
And I was
Casey
like,
Brandware.
That's who made it.
As I was like, I don't sell apparel,
Yeah.
but it's cool when you have a
It's
moment
cool,
like that
yeah.
where it's like, whoa, hey, that's mine, that's on national television.
Yeah, it makes you proud. It makes you feel like it's, something that people are excited to wear or proud to wear.
It never gets old.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't.
I get just as excited seeing people wear them now. It doesn't. What really makes me excited now are the little kids you see that are wearing it, and it just makes you proud of it. That you've seen something through and put some time and effort, energy into something, and it's paid off, regardless of what everybody else sees. It's something to be proud of.
Yeah, and that people are comfortable representing you.
Yeah. I think that was important for us too from the very start. Was we've always been very, very intentional and careful with how we want our brand to be portrayed and how we want ourselves to be represented. So I think that isn't something that there's been a lot of things that we've said no to that people would be like, why would you ever say no to that? And it wasn't because it was an easy no. It was because after just talking through, like, does this align with who we are, with our mission, with what ultimately, like, we want to put out? We couldn't say yes to it. And so I think that's probably one of the, like, going back to the question you asked me earlier, that's something that's hard, where when you really have to, like, be true to it's not hard to be true to yourself, but you have to make sure you make the right decisions, and you have to come back to that core mission. I think that's something that you have to make hard decisions like that. So, but that's important to us. It's just how our company is represented, and which is a reflection ultimately us and our family too.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, God honors and blesses that, and it's difficult when you're making the decision, but it's been so sweet for us to see, God doesn't have to just like reaffirm himself to us all the time, or confirm this or confirm that, and he's sweet enough to bless us. It never.
But sometimes he does, and that's like
it is the sweetest time when you turn something down, you don't want to, for whatever reason, you're not a part of something, and then you don't even have time to really grieve not being able to do whatever it was. And just like that, he places something right in front of us that it's so much better than what it would have been.
Yeah.
And had we done the other thing, I know it's kind of cryptic speaking, but or associated with if you don't associate with a certain high level musician or athlete, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere you get just the perfect fit, and I think that's God honoring us, being obedient and staying true to what we're supposed to be staying true to.
Yeah
Yeah.
It's really encouraging. Okay, shifting gears just a little bit. I do this every single episode.
Okay.
I have a segment called Film or Fail. And you can either tell me your favorite movie
Oh.
or a failure you've learned from.
I'll tell you that obviously Top Gun's my favorite movie, but let's get past that. I think a failure that I've learned from is probably, and it coincides with what we were just talking about. I was going to align with somebody and put a lot of time and effort and energy into the relationship and into relationships. And another artist had a hiccup, we'll call it that, and it opened our eyes to overly aligning with one or two individual people, and putting all your eggs, if you will, in one basket, and then seeing somebody put themselves in a compromising position that's caught on camera or audio or whatever you want to call it, and seeing how quickly everything that we worked for after that person was canceled quite a bit, it was something that I think is a great lesson that I learned, because there is a time that when you're starting a company like ours that you want to align with as many people as you can, but if you get just one solid Tom Brady, then you think you've made it, and how quickly that can be taken from you. So learn not to put all our eggs in one basket.
You want me to answer too?
Yeah.
Tell me again, favorite movie or
a failure you learned from.
A failure we learned from.
And at this point, you can just tell me both people do. I mean, what you just do.
I mean,
here's this, and then here's the failure.
To learn from. I don't know that it was a failure. I think it was the Lord actually kind of protecting us from this failure, but it could have been very easily. It could have been something that I'm glad that we learned that lesson, is just what the measure of success is, not always what the obvious answer would be. I think that chasing money, chasing status, maybe not status, but appearance. I think that was something when you start a business or you want immediate success, you want, which is normal, that and you still want that as a business owner, obviously, or you wouldn't be doing it. But learning pretty early on that there are many other measures of success that are not that. And I think that is part of what has kept us true to who we are and really accountable to the Lord, because I think ultimately, like, you have to be able to, on a regular occasion, like, say, is this good or is this great? And so I think just being able to learn and discern that, and we don't do it perfectly.
I'm still learning.
That's something I think that we always have to, like, be continually asking ourselves.
Yeah.
Is this good? Yeah, it's good. But is it great? Is it beneficial? I go back to the scripture, and I'm probably going to butcher this, but there are a lot of things that you can do, but are they beneficial for you? Do they build you up? So anyway, that's one of the lessons. And then I don't know, movie.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I could watch it. I mean, I have a lot of favorite movies, but that is one movie that I can watch over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
There's not a more controversial title, though.
Okay.
I'm just saying, how do you get away with saying
It's such a good movie, though. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny, too.
Yeah.
Funny, romantic, all the good things.
You said Top Gun. Do you also like the remake or the reboot?
Not really.
I like the reboot.
I was gonna say that's one of the only, like, reboot, whatever, 40-year later sequels that they've made that they actually, I feel like, did a good job with.
We watched that together. I thought you liked it.
I did like it
Okay.
because it was Top Gun.
But
it's not. I don't think it compares to the first. Okay. But I think it's a totally different. I think the storyline was pretty predictable to me. But I think it was a good. I would watch it. I don't want to say I'd watch it again because I don't really do that a lot. Other than Top Gun, I don't like watching movies over and over. But
what's your favorite?
Some people do.
I'm in a stage where I hate this question right now.
Okay.
I've said this probably multiple episodes, so whoever's watching, they'll know my favorite movie. But I love. This is really cheesy, but When Harry Met Sally is the movie I've
That was
watched.
kind of my other option.
I've watched that movie the most in my entire life.
Do you know that I'm 38 years old. I just watched that movie for the first time in December, right before Christmas. I'd never seen it before. It was so good.
We decided our
That's
daughter
not
was
cheesy.
in town. She lives in Atlanta, so she works in an accounting firm there, and she doesn't get a lot of time off. But anyway, she got the holidays off, and so we watched a couple of cheesy Christmas movies, and that always comes up as a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I don't know why. But
Well, it's got that. It's that season, because that movie takes
Yeah.
place through it has that
Yeah,
Christmas season,
right.
and then the New Year's is like the end of that movie.
Yep.
I watched it. First time I watched it was like November of 2024. I watched it with my mom, and then I loved it so much so that like I stole her copy and she bought me a copy because like I would use the DVD.
That's funny.
I watched it every single night for like 3 months
Wow.
straight.
Oh, you shouldn't tell people that.
And it's only it's a thing of like the reason I tell people, I'm like, the reason that I love this movie so much is just because you're watching, it's over the span of 12 years, and you're truly watching like such human development.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't
that's true.
feel like cheesy Hollywood,
Yeah.
romance make me want to throw up dialogue.
Mhm.
Like it feels like authentic, real conversation, and that's because that's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, based on.
Well, I will tell you something I was a little bit surprised by because it's such an old movie is, and I just didn't know, but like some of the things that back then that they showed on a movie, like, I don't know.
Elaborate.
You're making this sound really bad.
Elaborate.
You're like my sister talking about this movie, make it sound like it's horrible.
Are you talking about from a sexual nature?
More so the language. I mean, like, it wasn't.
People have been cussing for years.
I know. I guess I just thought that, like, now, like, anything goes on TV no matter what. But
Yeah.
I guess that was something that they still did back then.
What was that rated back then?
It was rated R.
It's an,
Oh, was
well,
it?
it had
But I mean, it was. It's
sexual stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we should cut that part of this out.
We're not
I
cutting
don't-
anything. This is
I don't think
transparency.
I don't think you cut it. It goes to the piece like there is a level into which I make this argument all the time when it comes to movies of like sex by nature is a normal part of the thing, and even like premarital sex is just a part of living in a broken world. And I think there's a difference between just accepting that
Mhm.
and then like taking part in it and like
Yeah.
being okay with it.
Yeah.
I was like, but if you watch movies, there's a lot of movies, if you watch them through a Christian lens, it changes your perspective on it. And watching that movie, you watch the entire thing that I tell people is you watch Harry's character learn what love really is
Yeah.
over the portion of that movie.
It was a really great movie. Like, I
Mhm.
loved the movie.
My sister likes to like be like, "That's your favorite movie," and give me a hard time, and it's because it makes her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like you gotta read between the lines sometimes.
Yeah,
You look at that movie up front, and I mean, sure.
Well, we'll agree.
Well,
It's a good movie.
people have been cussing for a long time, and they have been having sex for even longer than that. So it's a natural part of the world.
Moving on.
So, as we come to a close, if you could go back and give your younger selves a piece of advice, what would it be?
Run. No, I'm just kidding. I've thought about this. I've had people ask me this before, and I don't know. It's tough to go back to that, but I think mine would be I would just tell myself, hang on. Everything's gonna be fine. Just don't get too happy, don't get too sad. Hang on. And then I could name a couple people that I would tell my older self not to associate with. But other than that, it's just everything's gonna work out.
Yeah. I love to tell specifically, I bring this up a lot because it's a main portion of my life right now, leading college students. Like I remind them, I'm like, y'all need to read the Old Testament some more. Because a lot of the Old Testament they didn't have Jesus yet. They didn't have that door. They literally had to just be faithful, obedient, and hold on and trust that God was going to get them through what they were going through. Specifically, I reference like Exodus and then Moses,
Yeah.
and how he was just, all right, well, here we go.
Without knowing for sure.
I mean, he walked straight to the end of an ocean and stood there and was like,
yeah.
And they were obedient all the while being rebellious.
Yeah.
And so people automatically associate rebellion with disobedience. And it can be, but I think that they're one and the same. I think they come, I don't think that looking back, a lot of times I don't think they were intentionally rebellious. Some other times they were very intentionally rebellious.
But I think about, like, if we put ourselves in that position, like, now we would be like, Moses is crazy. Like, what are we doing? Following him to the,
Yep.
But, I mean, obviously we know he wasn't. He was being obedient to the Lord. But, yeah, I have actually thought about that a lot of times in just different stories in the Bible. Like, when I think about, like, if I were to put myself in that situation, I'm like, yeah, like, I can understand why people would have responded a certain way.
I'd have been all of them.
Yeah.
I'd have been Peter. I'd have been doubting Thomas. I'd have been all of them.
Yeah.
And I think we all have a little bit of all those people in us. Yeah. So what's your advice?
Mine is not really related to business, I think, because I've thought about this a lot. If I could go back and tell myself something differently, it would be, I'm a pretty naturally black and white person. And I wish that I could go back and tell myself I've learned this, but I wish I could have practiced this earlier in my life, to be more compassionate for people who are in the gray area, and understanding that I kind of, and I'm not mad about this, but I grew up in a bubble. I grew up in church. I grew up around people who were, good people, but that's not everybody's case. And that's actually a lot of people, like, not a lot of people's story. And so just to be able to be compassionate and understanding that what maybe I grew up being equipped with is not everyone's story. And I don't know, I wish that maybe being more compassionate in that translating to be more kind as I was younger. Thankfully, the Lord has refined me and is teaching me that. So
a little bit.
A lot.
So where can people find you guys, follow you, and support what you do?
Well, we have social media, obviously. Instagram, our Kings Creek Apparel, and then Casey Brandwear. That's what our handle is. And then if they want to purchase Kings Creek, they can go online and purchase at kingscreekapparel.com, or we have stores throughout the Southeast that they can purchase through, specifically here in town. Escape Outdoors is our closest one to us. And then for Casey Brandwear, we also have a website, caseybrandwear.com. Talen did some amazing video that is on there. And so it is awesome. But yeah, they can call us and Google us and come make an appointment if they want something for their business or their school or whatever. So I love that side of our business. I think it's really fun because, and he does as well. We love it because it gives us the opportunity to, like, meet people, interact with people who are local, and a little bit of that can be lost with Kings Creek because people are purchasing online and that kind of thing. So that is, like, the really fun part of Casey Brandwear, is just kind of like asking people what they want and trying to give them the best customer service that we can. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Where they can find us with all of our little nephews.
Yes. Yeah, that's also too.
That's where they can find us.
Yeah, we have 5 under 3, and that's what we like. I feel like that's all we do on our free time, which is really fun. So
sounds like a fun time. Well, thank you guys for being here.
Yeah,
appreciate you having us.
Thanks, Talen.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for asking us.
Yeah,
appreciate it.